gamers play their favorite games, there are no power-ups or extra lives. The injuries we encounter are all too real, and unfortunately there are some major hazards while playing video games. Some of them could even force you to leave the gaming world for good. So come and join us as we reveal some of the worst gaming injuries and maybe why a certain game company should have focused more on safety precautions when they released one of their most popular consoles. Collapsed lungs. When you go to play a video game, what does your body naturally do? Well, if it's a computer, there's likely a portion of the time where you're hunched over the keyboard getting a close view of the screen. Well, remaining hunched over that keyboard probably isn't the best option considering the high number of gamers who've had their lungs collapse on them while they play. In the hunched over position, fluid may surround the exterior of the lung, forcing pressure on it, and eventually causing it to collapse. Yeah, doesn't sound very fun. For a gamer by the name of Hi_L9 Dulam, not only did his lung collapse, but he spent a majority of the time in the hospital hooked up to the free Wi-Fi so he could play some more. The craziest part of Hi's injury is just how common it can be. Many professionals have had to drop out of tournaments or leave leagues due to the prolonged injuries that occur with a collapsed lung. You could say their career was more deflated after that. Ooh. Wiimote injuries. Nintendo sure does love some original innovation. We saw it with the N64 controller release, and they really changed gaming forever with the release of the Nintendo Wii console. The Wii's wireless capabilities and motion controls made the bundled Wii Sports one of the most popular games for the Wii, and also one of the most dangerous. We've heard countless tales of Wiimotes flying and smashing the TV screens. But some gamers took their playing a little too far. Thanks to big swings in titles like bowling and golf, there have been multiple players who dislocated their shoulder. The injury could result in multiple muscle pains and chronic shoulder problems, along with the inability to ever play Wii Sports again. Let's just hope they got a strike or a hole-in-one to make everything worthwhile. While a dislocated shoulder is a major injury, the Wiimote is responsible for plenty of minor ones as well. Who hasn't whipped themselves in the face with the Wii Remote while trying to win a Mario Party minigame? When gamers played the Wii together, a lack of proper arm space could easily lead to swinging elbows. And sometimes, even if there was enough space, we may be prone to swinging our arms at opponents as well. Either way, the Wii definitely created a lot of extra trips to the emergency room. 3D optical disorder. 3D gaming has really advanced and changed over the years. In the past, we used to have to look through a pair of cheesy red and blue 3D glasses, and the effects weren't even that great. Not only were 3D games pretty much a joke, but it turns out the overuse of systems like the Virtual Boy could burn the corneas on your eyes. Basically, if it was a modern-day version of A Christmas Story, the mother character would be saying, "No, Ralphie, you'll burn your eyes out." That's not much of an exaggeration either. Imagine wasting your time on one of those lackluster 3D games to have sudden onset blindness. Well, it has happened, and is officially referred to as 3D optical disorder. The number of problems run the gambit from the sudden blindness to retinal degeneration. The outer layers of your eyes would be permanently changed, and you could even deal with a lifetime of vision issues, even if you managed to ditch the 3D glasses. No word on if 3D optical disorder and the Nintendo 3DS are related, but most of the issues are directly associated with just the old-school blue and red 3D glasses. WASD syndrome. What is WASD? Well, for any PC gamer, the answer's simple. WASD refers to the common WASD keyboard layout players use to move around in a variety of games. The overuse of these keys has led to a medical complication known as WASD syndrome. With this syndrome, the left hand of a PC gamer may develop severe arthritis. The joints in the fingers may become extremely worn down, and the fingers could lose a lot of flexibility. Along with arthritis issues, WASD syndrome includes enough other problems to make you rethink your gaming layout, or at least have you transfer over to a controller for 1 or 2 days out of your gaming week. Calluses may form over the skin. The edge skin on the fingers could become worn and cracked, and don't even get us started with carpal tunnel syndrome. And no, we're not sponsored by a wrist rest company. But your arms definitely need support while gaming to avoid the WASD syndrome. If you game for long enough and develop the WASD syndrome, then you may need just as long of a break to help your hand heal. In some cases, physical therapy will be needed, while in other cases, surgery may be required to repair or replace ligaments in the hand. Controller injuries. We've already talked about how the Wii Remote and PC keyboard can cause issues. But you regular console gamers don't need to start bragging about your controllers, because there are plenty of injuries associated with both DualShock and Xbox controllers as well. On the basic level, you may deal with some hand aches, joint pain, and worn skin, or you could require surgery to fix the hand. Just ask Matthew Perry. Yeah, that Matthew Perry from the hit show Friends. In real life, Perry became obsessed with the game Fallout 3. So obsessed that his hours and hours of logged game time resulted in major problems to the muscles in his hand. He actually needed minor hand surgery to repair the hand and probably learned better ways to hold the controller and prevent problems in the future. At least his love for the Fallout series allowed him to play a voice role in one of the sequels. Still though, the whole injury thing makes his Miss Pac-Man obsession on Friends feel even more realistic. In an episode, Chandler's hand literally gets stuck in the same position from gripping the joystick for too long. Something we could all probably relate to. Enjoying these video game injuries? Well, when you're done, tune into our video 10 rejected video game console ripoffs for some more gaming fun. Pokémon Go injuries. When the comforts of video games leave the living room, you know some problems are bound to occur. Just take, for example, the world of Pokémon Go. At the height of that game's craze, people would literally try and do anything to catch them all, including putting their bodies in harm's way. First, there's all the drivers who crash their cars while trying to catch Pokémon as they cruise down the street. Then there's people blindly looking at their phone screen and running into telephone poles, mailboxes, or park benches. The injuries associated directly with Pokémon Go became so prevalent that researchers from the Purdue University's Krannert School of Management did a whole study on it. There's even a website which tracks the players who perished or had severe injuries while engaging in Pokémon Go gaming. Some of the craziest stories? A man fell on railroad tracks and needed to have his leg amputated. Another lost a vision in their eye. And then there's a guy who fell off some cliffs but managed to survive. There's drivers who got distracted and hit a bunch of pedestrians after veering off the road. At the end of the day, collecting all those digital creatures probably wasn't worth it. VR headset injuries. Even if you do leave the streets and strap on a VR headset instead, you could still be prone to injuries. As you're exploring a vast digital world, you are still pretty limited to the world around you. Primed up and ready for some type of America's Funniest Home Video montages, we've heard stories of all kinds of VR headset injuries. There's the basic ones where people bump and hit objects in their home. Then there's the injuries where people punch and kick into the air, knocking out actual people around them. And while some people explore vast lands, they forget about the wall in front of them and smash right into it. Then there's some of the most dangerous objects that people cannot seem to avoid. We're talking about ceiling fans, space heaters, or even fish tanks. Talk about a disaster in the making. The VR designers themselves have even fallen for the digital realms they created and had some real-life injuries. For example, take Drew Skillman and Patrick Hackett from Google. The designers worked directly across from each other and ended up punching each other in the face while swinging outwardly. The reality may be virtual, but all the injuries are definitely real. Game transfer phenomena. Ever play so much Minecraft you reached into your own pocket looking for a pickaxe? Well, you're not alone. And we can imagine the problem becoming a bigger reality in the future. Professionally referred to as game transfer phenomena, this condition has been around for multiple decades. It originally began back in the early 90s when players would feel like they saw Tetris blocks floating in the air after playing the game for a long time. With games becoming more realistic and players spending more time on them, the problems have only increased. Not only do players feel like they are a part of a video game, but often feel like they have the physical powers and abilities as the characters they control in the game. We all have some form of game transfer phenomena and probably don't even realize it. Ever learn to make a new meal and refer to yourself as leveling up? Well, that's GTP. Players are taking their gaming experiences and terms and applying them to real life. Not all would be bad though. If changing clothes was as easy as swapping out skins, then getting up in the morning would be a whole lot easier. Atari skinning and disease. Don't worry, modern gamers, if your parents are complaining about potential problems you're going through, then you can point out that some of the worst video game injuries began all the way back with the first Atari consoles. Gaming controllers and joysticks were not always made like they are today. Back with the early Atari consoles, the packaged joystick was essentially a long piece of plastic with no support or grip. Players who got their Pong action on would deal with a prolonged injury known as Atari skinning. And yes, it's as painful as it sounds. The skinning occurs from gripping the joystick too hard for too long. That hard plastic literally breaks down the skin, peeling it away and causing a lot of pain. And when those cuts did open up, it left gamers vulnerable to germs and infections. With the Atari joystick becoming a hotbed for bacteria, people would not only develop the skinning, but some pretty awful diseases on top of it all. Retro gaming is fun and all, but not worth the potential diseases that come along with it. Toss a grip on that bad boy and have plenty of Lysol around to avoid any major problems. Jealous pets. While we would all love to devote all our time to video games, our pets need attention too. Unfortunately, sometimes that attention comes at the worst times. There have actually been multiple instances where online game streamers were attacked by their cats. looking for some type of attention or possibly revenge. Popular streamer Adam Poland was taking a short break from gaming to pet his kitty cat when all of a sudden the cat began attacking and would not stop. Just when you thought the cat was off the screen, it lunged up out of nowhere and scratched the poor guy across the face. These cats seem to know exactly how to go viral. Another example came when Twitch gamer Sarah Kate was live online and her cat literally came out of nowhere. The cat scratch resulted in a pretty graphic view on screen, and Sarah was truly shocked from the sneaky attack. The injury left her with a pretty big cut under her eye along with a black eye to boot. The next time you game, try to keep your pet in the other room. You never know when the next attack might occur. And yeah, we're even including all of you who own turtles. Those shelled creatures cannot be trusted around our gaming consoles. Okay, who else is going to be a little more cautious the next time they play? Just raise your digital hand and give us a like. Drop it.